Kai Havertz was considered a generational talent at Leverkusen, becoming a key starter in the Bundesliga at just 17 years old. And after getting 46 goals and 31 assists before his 21st birthday, Chelsea decided that he was their next superstar and spent 100 million euros on him in 2020. He scored the UCL winning goal for them that season, but ultimately fell short of his lofty expectations in London, as he never scored over 10 goals in a season for them and really wasn't a standout, ran the game type of player. And after going monk mode in 2022, which resulted in a cool 0.2 goals per game, Havertz moved to Arsenal for an at the time shocking 75 million euro fee. Many thought that the Gunners had vastly overpaid, but Havertz has actually somewhat turned it around for them, getting more goals and assists than ever before, but still kinda short of his Ballon d'Or level potential. Timo Werner was an absolute sniper at Leipzig, scoring 21 goals in a season as a 20-year-old youngster. Gifted with world-class pace and positioning, Werner continued the momentum for the next couple of years, all culminating in a huge 34-goal, 13-assist season in 2019. This got Chelsea to form a deadly German duo when they bought him for 46 million pounds alongside Havertz, and Werner played pretty well in his first season, getting 12 goals and 15 assists. But as time went on, Werner just seemingly forgot how to finish, as the heir to the German striker throne had periods where he probably couldn't even hit a ball into the ocean if he tried. After leaving Chelsea in 2022, Werner never got back to being even an average finisher, showing how much confidence matters in football, as Werner is now playing in the MLS in what are supposed to be his prime years. Leroy San was another pacey Wonderkid, displaying great skill alongside his speed as a teenager at Schalke. His 9 goals and 7 assists were enough for Man City to take a gamble and spend 45 million pounds on him, as while his potential was sky high, he was still very raw and inexperienced. But that gamble really paid off, as after adapting to the league, Sane was a key player under Guardiola, getting 39 goals and 44 assists over 3 seasons, winning multiple league titles, and also being named the PFA Young Player of the Year. However, he spent the entire 2019 season out with a torn ACL, and as a result was sold to Bayern in 2020 at a cut price, 42 million pounds. And at Bayern, he was still a great player, collecting even more trophies, but his fitness became more and more of an issue, and he left in 2025 on a free to Galatasaray. Overall, having a great career, but I don't know, kinda underwhelming still. Julian Draxler became a starter at Schalke at just 18 years old, setting numerous age-related records in his time there. A versatile player who can be deployed on both wings and at cam, Draxler got 30 goals and 29 assists for his hometown team, all before turning 22 years old. But he turned the Schalke faithful against him when he moved to Wolfsburg in 2015, and his time there wasn't that great either, as he didn't play regularly or produce much at all. So 2 seasons later, he moved to the money bag club PSG and spent many seasons there receiving the bag, while playing okay but not nearly living up to his potential. And after a short time with Benfica, Draxler fully just admitted himself that he is a money man through and through, as he moved to Saudi Arabia, setting his grandchildren's grandchildren up for life. Max Meyer actually replaced Draxler after he left and was also a teenage starter for the club, displaying immense technical ability in the field. He ended up getting 22 goals and 23 assists for his boyhood team, but after his form started to dip in 2018 and he publicly criticized his sporting director, he was dropped from the squad and let his contract expire. Crystal Palace signed him up on a free, thinking they got a coup, but he only got 2 goals and 2 assists for them in 3 seasons. So now in his prime years, Meyer struggled to revive his career, bouncing around clubs like Cologne and Fenerbahce before settling in Switzerland with Luzern. But he did pretty well there, getting 20 goals and 8 assists for them, and is now playing for Apoel in Cyprus, having carved out an okay career, but obviously far away from what he could have been. A young Marc-Andr ter Stegen came into a Mönchengladbach team in turmoil, bottom of the table halfway through the 2010 season. The team's current keeper just completely sucked, so ter Stegen replaced him in April and went on a Jesus-esque run, keeping 4 out of 5 clean sheets and turning into God himself in a win against Dortmund. He absolutely saved their season and continued to be world class for them for 3 more seasons, after which Barcelona came calling and signed him for 10 million pounds. In Spain, he started off rotating with Claudio Bravo, but eventually got the #1 slot to himself, and despite dealing with some injuries, really just became one of the best keepers in the world. And as of now, he has been cast aside for Joan Garcia, which obviously hasn't made him the happiest guy in the world, but he can be considered one of the best keepers of his generation, and without Manuel Neuer's existence, probably would have been a German legend as well. Julian Brandt had 350k spent on him at 17, as his technical ability and calm nature made Bayer Leverkusen want him for their senior squad. In his first couple of seasons, he was more of a substitute, but he played well whenever he came on, so in 2016, he was promoted to a starting role and became a key contributor for them. Overall, Brandt got 42 goals and 52 assists over 5 seasons for Leverkusen, and at 23 years old, decided to take the next step in his career by moving to Dortmund. But at Dortmund, while he kept producing at the same level, he didn't really improve to that world-class star-level player, just being your classic, reliable, creative midfielder. And there's really nothing wrong with that. I mean, he's won a couple trophies with Dortmund and has made a real real career for himself, now holding the number 10 shirt and having a good season so far this year. Alexander Merkel has the most interesting start to his career on the list, as he actually moved to AC Milan's youth setup at 16 years old, and he had some great showings in the preseason which led him to make his senior debut for Milan aged 18, but didn't break into the rotation containing Pirlo and Gattuso, so he was sold to Genoa in 2011. And from there, Merkel unfortunately could never get consistent game time, as he bounced around a few clubs in Italy and Germany, mostly just sitting on the bench, having had too much pressure put on him early. He did have some spells where he played more later on at lower league clubs like Heracles in the Netherlands and Gaziantep in Turkey, but didn't really produce in his minutes there. And now he's playing for Legantus in the Dubai 2nd Division, so a huge disappointment compared to what he was supposed to be at Milan. Leon Goretzka, like many others on this list, started his career at Schalke, once again being relied on as a teenage starter. I don't know if this speaks well or not on Schalke that they always have to depend on kids, but Goretzka, after a decent first 3 senior seasons, broke out in 2016 with 8 goals and great all-around play. And after another good season, Goretzka was snapped up by Bayern Munich on a free transfer, getting branded a traitor after letting his contract run down and announcing the move mid-season. Goretzka had an injury-affected first season in Munich, so in the summer after, he got on some of that juice and turned into a tank. And while this didn't actually solve the injury issues, it helped him to evolve his game further. He turned into a physical box-to-box general, one of the best mids in the Bundesliga, and after years of winning titles, Goretzka will leave the club at the end of this season, marking an end to a great decade of football. Now finally finishing off all these Schalke players is Donis Avdijaj, who I saw being referred to as the next Aguero by some fans in 2016. Having a bit of a smaller stature, Avdijaj was a great dribbler and finisher, getting 59 goals in 53 games in the youth ranks and being expected to become the next great German striker. While he got even more hyped after a good loan spell at Sturm Graz, he never could get into Schalke's first team, being a disciplinary nightmare and party animal, thus leaving to Willem in the Eredivisie in 2018. From there, Avdijaj never fixed his attitude, only showing flashes of his goal-scoring potential but never stringing together a good run of form, bouncing around countless clubs and countries over the next few seasons. He played well finally for Hartberg in Austria though, and as of now he's at Wolfsberger, where he has 4 goals so far this season, but is definitely a ways away from that Aguero comparison. Niklas Süle was a physical monster as a teenager, standing at 6'5", but also being extremely fast for his size and having great passing ability. This all helped him become a key player for Hoffenheim at just 18 years old, and despite a tough ACL tear during that season, he recovered well to become a top-level defender. And after helping Hoffenheim to a great 4th place finish, Bayern swooped in to sign him for a bargain 20 million euros in 2017. Immediately inserted into the starting 11, Süle was simply a rock-solid presence at the back, looking like he was gonna become a top 5 defender in the world, but he sadly tore his ACL again after 2 great seasons. And while he was still solid, the injury really did affect him, and Bayern let him leave on a free to Dortmund 2 years after, where he was probably one of the only pro footballers to ever be fat-shamed. However, besides that, he's been decent at BVB. Joshua Kimmich was a little bit of a later bloomer compared to some of the others on this list, making his breakthrough at 20 for Bayern. Guardiola bought Kimmich for 8.5 million from the 2nd division, having seen huge football IQ and versatility from him, and he utilized these well in his first season, playing well in a rotational role. Then after the legendary Philipp Lahm retired in 2017, Kimmich took over at right back seamlessly, not only being a world-class defender, but also getting 13 assists on the season. It was clear now that Kimmich was on the path to being a star mainstay for Bayern, moving to CDM in 2020 and continuing to play at a top level there as well. And after a treble-winning season, 106 international caps for Germany, and infinity individual awards and Team of the Years, it's safe to say that Kimmich even outperformed his expectations and is one of the best players of his generation. Jann-Fiete Arp, unlike Kimmich, got hyped as a 16-year-old after destroying the German youth ranks and was the first Bundesliga player to be born in the 2000s. He looked like he had everything, from height and strength to great football IQ and finishing, and after scoring a couple important goals for Hamburg in his 17-year-old season, Arp was tipped to be Germany's next great goal scorer. But his move to Bayern Munich still as a teenager probably was too big a step at the time, as he dealt with lots of recurring injuries and struggled to get first team minutes on the rare occasions he was healthy. So after a decent loan spell at Holstein Kiel, Arp joined them permanently in 2022, where he never recovered to his past goal scoring form, only getting 11 goals in 4 seasons for them. And as of now, he's playing in Denmark for OB, where he has 9 goals so far this season, but the hype after just a few promising showings was definitely too much too soon. Mario Götze became a crucial player in an elite Dortmund side at just 18 years old, being called one of the best talents Germany has ever had. And throughout his 3 seasons there, Gotze, before turning 21, had amassed 31 goals and 44 assists while showing insane technical skill and genius level vision, hailed as a once-in-a-century talent. Then after a good first season at Bayern Munich, the entire world was introduced to him as he scored the decisive winning goal in the 2014 World Cup final. It was a formality at this point that he'd become a top 5 Ballon d'Or level player, but unfortunately he had issues staying in shape after that, constantly looking like he'd just eaten 10,000 calories or something on the pitch. He was criticized heavily for this, as people believed he was just lazy, but later it was revealed he had myopathy, a rare metabolic disorder that caused chronic muscle fatigue and made it difficult to lose weight. So he moved back to Dortmund in 2016, where the disorder really started to affect him, as he suffered countless injuries in his second spell there despite playing well whenever he came on. And that was really the sad story for the rest of his career, as he has spent time in the Netherlands and is now playing for Frankfurt, where he is far away from the German Messi comparisons, but still did experience the greatest glory the game has to offer. I'd appreciate it if you liked and subscribed if you enjoyed the video, and comment below what you want to see next.